You're a person who continues to set goals for yourself, and yet you seem to never reach your final destination. It's clearly not because you are unmotivated, and I doubt it's because you're lazy. But you may want to consider getting a new navigation system. I'm Belinda. This is Belinda in Balance. And here we are about structure, growth, and intentional living. Today, I want to talk to you about setting a roadmap for yourself that'll get you to your goals. So let's jump into it. I have lived in Korea for nearly 4 years now. And one interesting thing I've come to realize is that not all navigation systems are created equally. What I mean by this is that back home in the States, I probably would only just use the navigation system on my phone. I have an iPhone, as I've said before. So I type in the address, maybe sometimes Google if that's the link. So, however that had worked in the past, I never really thought about it. I just used that. Now, since coming to Korea, a lot of your standard navigation systems on a phone simply do not work here. The area hasn't been mapped out, or there's extra side roads that you just don't consider are there, and you end up making the wrong turns. So here a lot what people do is you get the local navigation systems that they use here in Korea. One of the biggest ones is called Naver, or I say Naver. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that wrong. However, what it does, same as any navigation system really. However, the biggest difference I've noted, and something I've come to really appreciate over my time here, is that the Naver system points out speed humps for you. Really random thing, not really something I think in a lot of countries or states you would think needs to be included in a navigation system. But I will tell you, there are a lot of areas with a lot of speed humps in Korea, and you don't always see them coming right away. So there's some roads where you have it literally every couple of minutes because they're trying to control the traffic flow and keep people from speeding. So these speed humps are placed in, but your navigation system will tell you, speed hump ahead in X amount of distance. That way you don't absolutely ruin your car. That way you don't act that way you don't absolutely ruin your car by speeding over these speed humps, because they're not some little things. They are like intensive speed humps that will make the back end of your car lift up off the ground. So I had that on my mind this week, and I thought, that's a big tenet in goal setting as well, to always make sure that you're making note of those speed humps or those hurdles that might mess you up and might derail you on the way to where you're trying to go. So there is 3 key points that I want to go over in talking about actually being able to make it to your final destination in your goal setting. And in these points, I'm going to reference a little bit some SMART goal topics. So if you don't know what SMART goals are, it is the following. It's an acronym, so each letter stands for a different thing. The S is specific. You want your goals to be very specific in what you're trying to attain. The M is measurable. So you want to have a metric that you are able to track so that you know how you're progressing on your way to your goals. The A is attainable, meaning it needs to be something you can get to within the time frame that you have set yourself. So some things, if you're trying to do something within a month, Make sure that you're setting a milestone that you can reach and not just saying, hey, I want to get to the final goal, because you might not be able to do that in a month. Hey, and then it's Editor Belinda. As I was watching this video back, I realized that I put the wrong word for R. I put realistic, having forgotten that the R for in SMART is actually relevant. Relevant meaning that it needs to be in line with your goals. It needs to be in line with your larger life and what you're trying to accomplish. Because many times people try to just do a goal because they see other people doing it, right? You have no interest in fitness, but you decide you want to run that marathon. Or you have no interest in food, but you decide you want to cook. Goals like that are going to be hard to meet because they're not in line with things that are important to you as a person. So, relevant. That is the R. Back to the main video now. The T final step is time-based. So I've already referenced a little bit. What time are we working on here? What is your actual milestone? Are you trying to reach this goal in a day, a week, a month, a year? So, but now back to our 3 key points for setting these goals and making sure you have a roadmap that works for you. 1, you need to have an accurate starting point. Surprisingly, a lot of people don't necessarily know where they are currently as far as goal setting goes. A simple one, of course, I'm just going to reference because it's the easiest, is if you're trying to lose fat or just lose weight in general. It's kind of hard to know what a realistic goal can be for you if you don't know what your fat percentage or what your weight is today or the day that you are going to start. So get that good starting point. Any navigation system that you have needs to be able to reference your current location to know how to get you to where you're trying to go. Second point, your endpoint that you're trying to get to. It doesn't necessarily have to be the final endpoint, and honestly, it probably shouldn't. As you're setting goals, you need to give yourself milestones, little points along the way, little checkpoints along the way for you to come in, see how you're doing, and reflect back. So it's just like rest stops, right? If you're going on a really long trip and you're using a navigation system, it's going to show you those rest stops. But those are going to be like your semi endpoints. So figure out right now, what are your checkpoints you're trying to get to? And then you'll have your final endpoint too, but you need to start off by just hitting these small checkpoints first. So you need your start and you need all these incremental checkpoints that you're going to be trying to get to in addition to your final endpoint in order to build an accurate map of where you're going. And then 3, as I mentioned, your speed humps. Have a system that is prepared for the speed humps that you are going to encounter, because they're going to be there, no doubt. You're always going to have little things that come up. So set a good starting point. Set a good final endpoint, but also milestone endpoints, your rest stops, so that you can check in where you're going. And give yourself ways around your speed humps or indicators to slow down so that you don't ruin your car as you hit a speed hump. This way, you're constantly checking on your progress. You're not having as hard of a time when you encounter problems, and that stress can be reduced because you're building yourself in a structure. So build up that good roadmap for yourself, one that you're not having to constantly adjust along the way and reroute yourself. Or if you do need to reroute yourself, you already have a plan in place for where you can go. So My recommendation is next goal you set for yourself, do those things, map it out, write it down, make a plan for your speed humps ahead of time. That will get you to your goal much easier than if you don't. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me today. If this is something that helped you, I would love it if you can subscribe to the channel. I would love to continue for us to build structure and to grow and to live a life of intention together. I'll see you next time. Bye.